In Costa Rica, a team of scientists led by Dr. Morbius, suffering from a rare blood disease, is dropped by a helicopter at the entrance of a cave. Morbius uses his bleeding hand to lure bats into the trap, and the team and pilot run in fear. This story begins 25 years ago in Greece when Dr. Nicholas introduces Morbius to a boy named Milo, who suffers from the same blood disease. Both kids immediately fall in love, and Morbius fixes Milo's machine, which passes out. Nikhil, impressed by Morbius' intelligence, sends him to an exclusive school in New York, but Morbius only accepts after he promises to take care of Milo. He writes a letter to Milo promising a cure for their disease, which accidentally falls from Milo's hands, and he finds mean kids from the school making fun of him for it. Fortunately, Nicholas arrives and scares them away before they can cause serious damage. Morbius gets his doctoral degree when he turns 19 and develops an artificial blood that saves millions of lives. The King of Sweden wants to give him the Nobel Prize, but he turns it down because he discovered the artificial blood by accident while trying to find a cure for his illness. In the present, Morbius returns to his job at the hospital and is approached by his co-worker, Dr. Martin, to have a private talk. Martin reveals Morbius' project to mix human DNA with bat DNA, funded by Milo. Morbius shares the truth about his tank full of Colombian bats, which are the only mammals on Earth that feed exclusively on blood, and thinks their special saliva may be the solution to cure his illness. Morbius tests his new serum on a lab rat, which dies, and one of his patients starts having a seizure. When Martine checks the lab again, she finds the rat moving, meaning the serum does work. Later, Morbius meets with Milo to tell him about his breakthrough and asks for more money to conduct the experiment on international waters. Morbius creates a new, more advanced serum and injects it into Morbius' spine, causing him to shake. A crew member arrives to check on them and Morbius breaks free, revealing his vampiric powers. He kills the guards one by one, and his body transforms back into his human shape. After checking on Martine, Morbius makes a mayday call, takes the serums, and jumps into the sea. The next morning, 2 FBI agents arrive to investigate the crime scene, but Morbius has deleted all security recordings, and Martine remains unconscious. In this text, Morbius returns to the hospital and tests his abilities, including being fast, athletic, and able to climb and jump. He also discovers that he has developed echolocation similar to a bat. However, these powers only last as long as he feeds. Morbius locks himself up in an isolated room to test his abilities further. Milo visits him and finds him in a weak state, but he asks for blood by writing it on the glass with his own. Milo brings a few bags from the freezer and Morbius recovers and is strong again. However, Milo insists that the cure is a curse, which Morbius refuses. Martine wakes up and is visited by FBI agents who show her disturbing pictures of the bodies on the ship. Martine pretends she doesn't remember what happened that night. Later, a nurse notices strange lights behaving strangely and runs away in fear, but she is still caught by a vampiric creature that kills her. When the body is found, Morbius is surprised and thinks he may have done it. Questioning his own sanity, Morbius runs to the lab and takes fake blood bags before leaving. As he leaves, FBI agents confront him about the experiments and decide to arrest him. Morbius defends himself and knocks them down with just a few moves. He escapes by climbing the stairs and dodges bullets from a cop. At the Manhattan Detention Center, he is allowed to keep his notes and calculates his feeding time from every 6 hours to 4 hours 22 minutes. Milo visits Morbius and gives him a pack of artificial blood before he leaves. However, Morbius discovers that Milo stole the serum and injected himself with it. In fact, he was the one who killed the nurse. Furious, Morbius drinks the blood and transforms into his vampiric form to escape the cell through the window. Morbius confronts Milo on the street, calling him a monster. Milo thinks their power is amazing and attacks Morbius to get him off his back. A fierce fight ensues, and the vampires crash into the subway station, causing citizens to panic. Milo celebrates the evolution of the vampires, but Morbius promises to find a way to fix it. Milo attacks Morbius again as the train comes closer, and he can feel the fast air caused by the train and jumps in front of it to fly through the tunnels and escape. Martine feels someone is following her through the city, and she enters a shop to escape through the back door. Milo, a vampire, takes the serum and is the actual killer. They stop at a cafe and discuss their plans. Morbius overhears 2 criminals discussing a lab, and after taking artificial blood, he finds the thugs inside a lab where they counterfeit money. He breaks his hand and scares them away as he calls himself Venom. Morbius uses the pieces of the printing machines to make devices he needs to work on a cure for vampirism. He goes to a nightclub and flirts with a beautiful woman, but a guy says he saw her first and pushes him away. Milo manages to keep his powers under control and leaves, but when the guy comes out with his friends, he kills them all. Martine goes to Morbius' hospital lab and finds him asking for his friend. She swears she doesn't know where Morbius is and makes him leave without a fuss. The FBI agents break into Martine's place, but neither she nor her cat are there. It's revealed that Martine is hiding with Morbius at the new lab, and she accidentally cuts her finger while trying to feed it. Morbius develops an antibody that will harm only a vampiric body. He makes 2 bottles for Milo and 1 for Martine to use on himself when the time comes. Nicholas calls for help and rushes to Milo's apartment, but only manages to beg him to stop him before dying. Milo kidnaps Martine and makes her say Morbius' name until he hears it with his power. He finds their location using his echolocation and flies through the city, finding Martine bleeding from an injury by Milo. He wants Morbius to feed on her so she can die being useful, but Morbius kisses her instead, causing a drop of his own blood to fall in her mouth. Milo hits Morbius extra hard, causing him to land on a platform and throw him against a glowing sign. When he falls again, Milo jumps on him and drags him onto a tunnel. Morbius sends bats after him, injecting him with the antibody, causing him to turn human and apologize before dying. The FBI agents arrive with the police, and Morbius hides among the bats to fly out of the tunnel safely. Martine wakes up and reveals she's a vampire too. A mysterious spell drops Spider-Man's enemy Vulture in the local prison, who is released by the police.